We have another question here from Jennifer. When you encounter an environment where the bulk of participants are resistant to tools that formalize the change process, what tips or tricks have you seen work that can be used to get the champions to bring the doubters along? So I think, this may, a question not just limited to Kaizen, but if you look at different change management models that organizations might be embracing. I think the key of the question, and I'll let you take a first stab at it, Greg, the key of the question is people are doubters or quote unquote resistors. What can the champions of the process do to bring them along?
Well, I think there's really two fundamental answers for this. The first is how do you phrase things and how do you present things in a way where sometimes people don't even realize they're doing improvement science. They don't even realize that they're doing Kaizen. Right. So you take it to the level of the person in trying to make their work easier, or whatever that person's goal is, figuring out how to loop the improvement work into making it easier for them to accomplish the goal. So I'd like to hear kind of your thoughts on that, and then the second part of that answer, I think, is, quite frankly, sometimes some people need to get off the bus. I mean, if you look at Good to Great, it talks about figuring out who should be on the bus or not. So I'm not saying that you come in and 50% of the people are canned from day one. I'm saying that at some point you've got enough momentum where 95% of the folks are bought in on this, and there are still some stragglers. Those people may actually do better in another environment. I'll leave it at that. I know I'm kind of on polar opposites of that answer, but.
Well, I mean, I think part of the key is don't jump too quickly to the conclusion that someone needs to get off or be thrown off the bus. There's an organization that does a lot of work in healthcare. They have a methodology. They talk about high, middle, low performers, and their research and experience has shown that roughly 7% of the organization is in that bottom category of maybe you need to help them exit the organization. But they also emphasize, the first role of leaders is to try to coach people up and kind of bring them up in the curve, give people a chance. I mean, I look at it and say sometimes people have been damaged by the environment that they're in. They're not bad people, and their cynicism or whatever's built up over time looks like resistance to change. And you give them a chance, and if leaders are changing the environment, sometimes people will come along. Sometimes they've been too damaged, I think, by the environment, and it's just better for everybody for them to try to get a fresh start someplace else. But I think leaders also have an obligation to look and say, well, how did we do that to people? How did we, quote unquote, create dead wood? There's the old expression from Peter Schultes, didn't you hire live trees? And think about what we need to do to not just keep repeating those cycles of hiring live trees, turning them into dead wood, and then saying, okay, get off the bus. I know you wouldn't get trees off a bus, but I think you know what I mean, right?
So quick funny story, and then I want to hear more of your thoughts on the first category, because I think that's the more interesting category. We were at our user conference last year, and we had one of our most favorite champions at one of our most favorite customers up there presenting. And one of the things that, first of all, if you are a KaiNexus customer, please come to our user conference. I know we have some select tickets for non-KaiNexus customers too. If you're interested in that, please reach out as well. But she was up on stage, and one of the things that our CI leaders use in the platform a lot are all the reporting. And so they can really see the locations and where the bottlenecks are and where the leadership issues are very quickly in the reporting section. And one of these reports was kind of indicating one person was a true bottleneck and not moving things along. And so the question was, well, how did you get that person to kind of get their act together and get on board? And she simply said, well, that person's no longer at our organization. As if they took her or took him out back. Anyway, it was,
sometimes people self-select out. I mean,
sometimes people self-select. So that's the funny joke part of it. But tell me more, like Mark, on the first part, which I think is how do you get the the people that are resistant, the people that are in the third, how do you get them to the second? How do you get the second up to the first? I kind of gave the answer of talking their language, figure out what their goals are, but do you have any other thoughts on that?
Well, I think that helps a lot. I mentioned in the last webinar that I did on bottom-up improvement, something I've been studying called motivational interviewing, which is a methodology when applied to the workplace, is all about leaders drawing out from people their articulation, the employee's articulation of their motivation. And hopefully there's alignment in the organization. If there's not, that's probably an organizational problem that has steamrolled over time. You can't tell somebody what their motivation is. You can help them discover it. You can help them articulate it. Again, hopefully there's good alignment, like in healthcare. Hopefully there would be alignment around serving patients, protecting patient safety, creating a better workplace, things like that. But the one thing I would add when you talk about people being doubters or being resistant, one of the lessons from motivational interviewing is the recognition that resistance is a normal step in the change process.
Great point.
We all go through, resistance may come from doubt, lack of confidence, lack of knowledge. We haven't tested and tried something yet. Right. And I think there's great insight from motivational interviewing is saying don't create, don't label this as abnormal or that there's some sort of pathology of why people are resistant. It is a natural human reaction. So I think what we do then as leaders is work with people, engage them, talk with them, listen, probably more listening than talking. That makes a huge difference.
That's great.
Was there anything else you wanted to add on that question?
No, I think
okay.